Last week we started chapter 2 and we talked about which ecosystem have only a few trees. Remember we talked about grasslands? And in grasslands, one of the most fascinating things about grassland is that the trees only exist near water, right? So we have all these grasslands. If there's a stream going through it or something, there's trees on either side of the stream, but farther you get away from the water, there's not as many trees. Now, grass can survive because remember they have those really deep roots. So they help the grass grow back easily and they help that grass find water deep in the ground. We also heard about grasshoppers, right? That was an insect that finds a lot, that you'll find a lot in a grassland. Today we're going to talk about deserts and tundras. So make sure you have your notes out. On the 4th page of our notes, we have right here, number 4, why do deserts have few trees? In your book, you'll be on page 78. Desert, a surprising ecosystem. Number 4, we're looking for why do deserts have few trees? A desert is an ecosystem that gets very little rain. Days are often hot, but the nights are cool or even cold. Many people think of deserts as nothing but sand. However, most desert ecosystems are full of life. Desert plants and animals can live with little rainfall. Some plants, including cactuses, store water in their leaves or stems. So, why does the desert not have many trees? What does it not have a lot of? Well, rain. Without a lot of rain, you can't have a lot of trees. There is not a lot of rain. What did our book say? Most desert ecosystems are full of life, right? They're full of life. There's many, many animals. Now, many of the animals, as you'll find later, they're not active when we would think an animal would be active. So number 6, what do many desert animals do during the daytime? During the day, you might see a lizard warming itself on a rock, but many desert animals rest out of sight during the hottest time of day. Some stay in underground tunnels. Others find a shady spot under a plant. At night, the desert comes alive. Animals come out of their hiding places to search for food. So what do they do during the day? Stay out of sight. A lot of reptiles that you think about living in a desert, like lizards and snakes, they're cold-blooded animals. Now, what that means is you and I are warm-blooded, which means that we regulate our own temperature. So a normal human temperature is 98.6, okay? So we stay at 98.6. Only time it really changes is if we get a fever or we're sick or something like that. But a cold-blooded animal, their body temperature starts to match the temperature around them. So desert animals have to regulate their temperature a little bit and they can't get too hot during the day. It's why they find shade. But sometimes they need to make sure that they're warm enough during the night so they will take on some of that heat during the day. Next, we're going to talk about the tundra. Before we go there, let's look at a couple different of these animals. This desert bobcat warms itself on a sunny rock in winter. At night, it hunts for birds and other small animals, right? The desert is very, very active at night. You can also see this yucca plant down here. Yucca plants provide shade and cover for small animals like snakes and lizards. Small birds eat the fruit. Let's move to the tundra, the land of long winters. Number 7 in our notes, we're looking for tundra ecosystems are found in the very blank part of the earth. The tundra is a cold, dry land ecosystem. It is in the very northern part of the world. Very northern part of the world. Next, we're looking for the ground in the tundra stays blank all year long. Parts of Alaska are tundra. Winters there are long and cold. Snow falls and cold winds blow. Summers are short and cool. The snow melts in summer, but the soil below the surface does not become soft. It stays frozen all year. So a tundra is going to have different type of plants than we have here because the ground is always frozen. So then why does a tundra have few trees? Well, the ground is frozen. And their roots can't develop or grow. Summer days are very long in the tundra. In some places, the summer sun shines 24 hours a day. Winter days are very short. Some places get no sunlight at all in winter. Most plants cannot grow in this climate. For example, few trees grow in the tundra. Their roots cannot grow in frozen soil. Small plants grow here instead. These include grasses and wildflowers. In summer, the melting snow forms ponds in the tundra. Many ducks, geese, and swans nest near these ponds. Other birds also nest in the tundra. In summer, there are millions of insects for them to eat. Most tundra birds travel to warmer places during the winter. Down here is an example of an animal that lives in the tundra, a caribou. Caribou travel in large herds. In winter, they find food by digging through the snow with their front hooves. So notice it kind of looks like a deer or a moose, but it's a little bit different, right? Caribou are a little bit different. They're much bigger than deer. At the top, what type of plant is missing in this tundra? Trees. Their roots cannot grow into the frozen soil. Grasses and wildflowers grow close to the ground. So here you can see lichens. Lichens grow in clumps close to the ground. It's the main source of food for the caribou. Wolves are another animal that's common in the tundra. Wolves travel in groups or packs to hunt for food. They hunt caribou, hares, and lemmings. The other large hunters include brown bears and golden eagles. Right? So it's a very interesting ecosystem. It's much different than what we have here in Wisconsin. Looking at our worksheet for today, make sure you get your name at the top. Remember, you can always go back in your notes or back in your book if you need to find an answer. 1. A land ecosystem with grasses and flowering plants. Well, grasses. Well, that would be a grassland. Think about the other ecosystems we learned about. Which ecosystem is a land ecosystem that gets very little rain? Little rain, what do we think of? A tundra or a desert? And then number 3, a cold, dry land ecosystem. Is that a tundra or a desert? Think about what we read. If you need to go back in your notes, go back in your notes. Reviewing concepts. Grasses survive in grasslands because they have blank roots, deep or shallow roots. I think we wrote something about that in our notes. 2 ways that deep roots help grasses. Ooh, those notes come in handy. So we use the deep roots. 5, cactuses are plants found in deserts or grasslands. Number 6, desert plants can live with very little sunlight or very little rainfall. Which do they not have? Desert plants can live with very little sun or very little rain. Which one does a desert not have? It doesn't have sun or it doesn't have rain. Number 7, winters in the blank are long and cold. Winters in the desert or winters in the tundra. Is the desert cold or is the tundra cold? And number 8, in the tundra, soil below the surface stays blank all year. Stays wet all year, or it stays frozen all year. You can go ahead and cross out the bottom. Then go ahead, make sure this makes it back in your Tuesday folder, and you check it off of your weekly checklist.